Hello and welcome to BeamNG.Drive. That was a horrible joke. I probably won't even try to post that. Hello and welcome to Blender Destruction Simulator. Hello and welcome to I have no idea what to do with this blender that I dropped into the lovely world of BeamNG.Drive. And if you're honestly still watching after those 3 horrible intros, then I don't know, good on you. Now, if y'all would like to try this blender out for yourselves, which is honestly already an odd phrase to be saying, if y'all would like to try out this blender, the link to it will be in the description box down below. And if you're enjoying this video, do be sure to click that like button. It helps me out a bunch. And now into the rest of the video. And also I'm sure that someone's going to comment that they are angry or upset that I asked them to click the like button. It usually happens that way. So at this point in the video, I was still kind of trying to figure out how to get the blender to sort of respond to what I wanted it to do. And the issue I was running into was initially I wasn't quite able to get the blender to sort of honestly just be in a state where I could use it. And getting that blender in a state where I could use it was a little bit of a battle, I'm not gonna lie. Now later on, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send some vehicles down that mega ramp, and if we smash into the blender, those vehicles will then be put into the blender to then be, well, I'm sure you can probably figure it out, blended. Also, in case y'all are hearing a little bit of scratchiness in my voice at the moment, that's because I'm a little under the weather right now, so do keep that in mind. Although learning how to use this thing was a little bit of a journey because it doesn't want to spawn in where you actually want to put it. And also the cord just kind of exists in its own separate plane of existence from the one that you exist on. And I kept trying to take the cap off of the blender because I wanted to try to jump vehicles into the blender. Although the more that I tried that, the more I realized that that was probably not going to work because I could never get it past the back lip of like the glass on the blender body. And as I'm doing this, it actually was bringing back a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily say good memories, but they were definitely memories where one of my first jobs was writing the descriptions for blenders that you would buy online. So if you've ever been on like, I don't know, like Amazon or whatever, and you've seen the description for a product, in my case, a blender, one of my first jobs was writing those. But back to the scenario at hand, I was honestly just being really stubborn, and all I wanted to do was get this stupid top off of the blender. And I'm sure that there's going to be someone in the comments that's going to be like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You could have just done this, this, and this, and it would have been gone. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I could have done X, Y, or Z thing, but you know what? I didn't know about that at the time. So that's not exactly relevant anymore, is it? Now, I did try to go into the options and actually like manually look up stuff like the cap of the blender to see if it was a removable part, and it wasn't. So I was just like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna go from there. Also, I have no idea where the arrows on the ground came from. I did drop my controller while I was filming this though, and I'm sure that some random button got pressed somewhere along the way and caused there to be arrows leading somewhere that I was just not aware of. However, finally, it's time for us to send our first vehicle down. Now, obviously, we could have gone a whole hell of a lot higher up, but I decided it wasn't really worth it, because the higher up you go, the more speed you're going to have to end up controlling on the way back down, which can honestly get just extremely out of hand. Like, it can get really out of hand really quickly, and if you're not ready to manage that, I don't know if I would jump into it. And now we finally have a car. I don't know why I picked specifically a drag-built Dodge Magnum with nitrous, although it wasn't a bad choice because it only took me a couple of runs to hit the blender. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and let y'all watch what happens on this one, and you'll see why I'm glad we didn't go higher up. It just would have been way too much speed to manage. And if you're honestly talking about managing that much speed, you don't want this car. This car is not all that good at managing itself at speeds that are that high. So, I mean, to be honest, we're starting with a car that, I mean, yes, it's modified, but it was kind of initially intended to be a station wagon street car. Although this one got us a direct hit, and that means in the blender it goes. And not only in the blender it goes, but it's time to attempt to make a Dodge Magnum smoothie. Now, reminder again for y'all, this blender is a little finicky, and if you're not perfectly selected with everything, it will kind of mess up a little bit. So this did take me a couple of attempts to sort of actually get right. Because when it comes to using this thing, you have to obviously like tab into it like you would with any other vehicle in BeamNG.Drive. But you also have to use the number pad to actuate the rotors inside the blender. So there's a lot of back and forth going on. And then when you finally figure it out, it kind of goes nuts. Also, I have no idea what the red is supposed to be. I feel like, I don't know, I was like, is that coolant or oil or something like that? Because I know that there isn't anybody in there. But regardless, that does it for our very first round of, I don't even know what you would call it. At this point, it's like, what do I even call this? Beam blend? Will it, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously you could say, will it blend? But that's just kind of going back to something that isn't really all that much of a meme anymore. And that's, of course, not to say that will it blend as a whole is not a meme. Of course it is, but it's just not a meme that a lot of people see or use on a daily basis anymore. So I feel like maybe not necessarily everyone is going to get that. So who knows? But for this round, I wanted to kind of up the ante a little bit. So I went for an extended frame semi-truck, and it's probably another horrible decision, but I decided to just run with it and see what would happen. But I'm just going to be quiet for this one and let y'all enjoy this thing's first run down the ramp because it was kind of ridiculous. And as you can very clearly see, I may or may not have catastrophically missed the ramp. However, hopefully this next run won't be all that bad, and hopefully we'll actually be a lot closer to the blender because I really do actually want to throw this thing in the blender and see what it actually does. So let's go for round 2. And honestly, we were so close that I decided we might as well go ahead and throw it in the blender anyway, because I wasn't going to bring something like this out and then send it at the blender and then be like, well, we're just not going to throw it in there. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, no, that's not how this works. This is not how this works at all. And as you can see, it didn't quite fit in the blender, but enjoy. And with that, I broke the game. Well, I broke the physics of one of the vehicles, but it kind of breaks the game. So with all of that being said, though, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.